7, 8, potato.
That's probably good. It's probably good.
Yeah, it was probably great.
Well, if you get a Moog too, you can just give me tones, and that'll match up brilliantly.
See,
Like this.
wait, how are you making the noise?
There's little buttons on the bottom. You can barely see them.
It sounds very Doctor Who. I think you should
right.
make us an intro song with this.
Whoa, that's a weird one.
Because that's beautiful. And if anybody's listening at home, you are more than welcome to send us intro songs. We will give you credit for that. We want to listen to hours and hours of weird shit. So yeah, send that to...
That would be cool. And if there's some way for them to actually see us, they could give us caricatures.
Yeah, we are okay with fan art as well.
Yeah.
Just draw what you think we look like. And
we will feature all pieces of fan art on our audio podcast if you send it in.
And and on our Twitter. We have a Twitter.
Oh, right. Yeah, there is a way to see it. Okay.
Yeah. What's our
That's
Twitter
funny.
handle again? It's Aaron and Justin Talk. No, it's just Aaron and Justin.
Oh, okay.
That's our
cool.
Twitter
I like
handle.
that. Well, for this one, I just thought it would be fun if we give the audience a little insight about who we are and maybe ask each other some random questions and maybe try to piss off anyone who's left, talking about what movie actually sucks that you may like and what movie is actually really good that you hate.
I think that's a great idea, Aaron, and thank you for opening the show with that. The first thing that I really wanted to touch on is right now you're like a Chris Hemsworth looking motherfucker. You look good. Yeah, if anybody's really wondering what Aaron looks like, it's a Chris Hemsworth looking motherfucker. You're very angular today.
Am I?
Like,
all right.
Yeah, like I would put you in a movie.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd hit that.
I have a new cardigan that my wife got me for Christmas, so that might be all you're seeing.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exposing that muscular neck. And oh, sorry.
I've never been one. I can't stand to button the top of a shirt. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't. It's the opposite of David Lynch. You ever heard David Lynch talk or seen him? You know what I mean? He always buttons. Every shirt he wears, he buttons right to the top. And I always hated that because he says he doesn't like wind on his neck or anything.
Yeah.
But I can't. I feel claustrophobic with a tie. So
yeah, I can't wear ties. Like, I hate them.
Yeah.
They make me so uncomfortable.
I can't even do a t-shirt, like a normal t-shirt. It just bothers me. So they got to be V-necks or I don't wear them.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Oh.
Low cut.
You're the
V-necks.
reason they make V-necks. There's probably like 6 of you in the country.
Really? All right.
Also need to hear from you, V-neck bastards, said Aaron and Justin. Because it's not okay what you're doing. What are you drinking?
It's just water.
It's in a dark container. It could be anything.
It's like a water bottle.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And I got coffee too. But, I'm just trying to stay awake. It's the holidays.
So, Aaron, why did you agree to do this stupid podcast with me?
I just thought that if I didn't get involved, you would never achieve your dream.
Chit-chatting with friends about movies?
Well, you always wanted to do a podcast. You were way up on the pod. I was still calling them radio dramas. You know what I mean? 'Cause I didn't really ever understand what I was like, yeah, it's like the radio show, right? And they're like, no, it's a podcast. And I'm like, well, yeah, but like they've been doing them since the 30s. You know what I mean? Like Shadow and X-1 and all my favorite like radio shows from back in the day. So I never jumped on the podcast bandwagon. But you were always big into it, and you always wanted to do something. And I was just like, well, I better get involved and help him realize his vision, because I think it could actually be pretty fun.
Yes, and I'm very happy that we decided to take on this endeavor. We are on that magical 8th episode.
And the beauty is you can watch them in any order you want, really. I mean, this could be the first episode for some people.
Yeah, and you can
and
skip
maybe
around.
their first and last for many people.
I mean, for most people today will be their last.
Yeah, because they're going to be like, well, where's the movie talk? What are they talking about?
So real quick, though, I'm just happened to find myself on Etsy through an ad,
Okay.
and I'm looking at this 1-to-1 replica armor for the Mandalorian,
Yeah.
and it's pretty sexy.
Yeah. That's probably going to
Like,
be pretty expensive, though.
it's not bad. It's $71.
Really? Well, that's not
Yeah.
Beskar.
No, not Beskar.
That can't possibly be Beskar.
Wait, no, that's bullshit. That's just the shin guard.
Ah, see? I knew it.
Full set.
I mean, the helmet alone has got to be like a couple $100, I would think.
$636.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it gets more expensive when you do sizes. Oh, just because my Beskar's a little fuller, I have to pay an extra $100. That's rude.
What do you think? I mean, Star Wars has always been known to have pretty horrible names for characters that y'all get used to after a while. But what do you think about Grogu? I just thought that was it's not a good name, and I don't think I'll really get used to it.
I have kept saying Baby Yoda, and then I'll jokingly say Grogu.
And then they say the child. They're like, it's not Baby Yoda, it's the child. And then so we've been calling it the child officially. But yeah, now it's just Grogu, and
Since we're talking about it, we might as well cover this real quick
Yeah.
as our first polarizing issue. Have you seen it yet? I forget.
Yeah.
Okay. Season
Both
finale.
seasons, yeah, so I watched both.
People argued that they veered too much into fan service in this second season. Do you agree? Do you disagree? It's a heated issue.
I think they did move too far into fan service by bringing back that character. I don't know if we have to say it's kind of fresh. I guess I won't say it.
No. If you're listening to this, you want to hear it. This is spoilers for The Mandalorian.
Oh, okay.
Skip ahead 5 minutes. We're not talking about anything super important.
I think what has worked out well with the show is that it was a legitimate Star Wars show. Like it deserved to be part of the Star Wars canon by doing its own thing. So I didn't really think it was too necessary to bring in the outside, the big fan favorite things. Like it didn't really need it, right? Like I think we would have all been happy if it was just some new Jedi that showed up. Right?
Well,
it would have been a sad ending, and we would have been like,
there would have been so many options.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, I agree with you that they didn't need to bring in Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Was it cool? Sure. But was it necessary? Absolutely not. Even though it fits the story fine.
It does.
Like, that's where I'm right on the edge. Like, it narratively makes sense that Luke would be there and doing what he's doing. But there's also canonical other Jedi that could have been there that would have potentially excited fans just as much or more.
And I think to bring in Luke, like that opens up questions like, okay, well, what happened to Grogu from now the end of The Mandalorian to Luke's flashbacks talking about how he was training young Jedi before Kylo Ren blew it up in his face? Like, where does he fit into that now?
I know, like,
and why isn't there another Yoda walking around?
It means that more than likely we're going to see Luke in season 3 at some point with Grogu.
You can't keep going back to the Skywalker well because Hamill's old, man. Like he can't keep showing up to be his younger self. He's gonna die someday, you know what I mean? And then we won't have him to look not very well de-aged, I didn't think. I mean, sometimes it's fine, but it just looks a little weird. It's like we're always watching Robert Zemeckis' motion capture films when they try to do this de-aging thing. It's all right, but it never looks great.
Yeah, it was just all right, and it was just a reminder that they haven't perfected it yet, and I thought they'd gotten a little closer than that.
I think Captain Marvel looked pretty good when they did with
Samuel Jackson looked good, but all they did was digitally put hair on him because he is literally 1,000,000 years old.
Right, but like Captain America looked weird in his first movie, and even Tony Stark, whenever they made him younger, just looked a little too strange.
That one, I think they missed the mark. I remember that. Did you like Boba Fett?
He's a little too big. He's a little too big for his armor nowadays. It looks a little funny.
It makes it even better. Like that's the moment,
Yeah.
for me anyway, where I realized that the armor is just some plates and they're wearing clothes underneath.
Yeah.
And when
So
you see
like,
him
what
wearing
is
the hoodie,
Mando's big deal about that armor? I mean, like, it's just some piece of shit armor that you're carrying around, Boba Fett. Just give it to him. Don't make it a hat. Don't hassle him about it.
well, see that part's awesome. Like because this season is when we were able to see actual Mandalorians, and we get to see that difference that he's actually in a Mandalorian cult
Yeah.
and not part of mainstream Mandalorian society.
Yeah. Here's my issue with Boba Fett is that the original trilogy, Boba Fett, he was just some bounty hunter people thought was cool.
Yeah,
But there was no need for a story. Like, nobody really cared. And then the prequels made him into a story, but nobody liked the prequels. So my question is, where does the love of Boba Fett come from? I don't really get it.
it happened. I think with the toys.
Yeah?
I think
Or is it from the cartoon,
the,
the Clone
it
Wars?
was.
Now he's not in that, right? But
He's
the
only in a
whole
little bit as a youngster.
okay, but the whole Mandalorian thing got explored, right? In the cartoon, right?
Just a little bit.
Oh, okay.
And
I
most of the
watched
time-
like 2 seasons maybe, and then it disappeared from Netflix, so I lost track of where I left off. And now that it's on Disney Plus, I don't remember where I was.
I never watched the final episode or season that came
Yeah.
to Disney Plus, but I've saw the rest and they're good.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah,
that is a
they're
dry
fine.
show.
yeah. It's just
Like-
a lot of shows.
Yeah,
and
and
not a lot
it's-
happens.
It makes me think about Zack Snyder's Watchmen, how a thing can be almost too stick too much to the source material and take not enough creative changes to make the story flow better. It feels like they directly adapted like a comic book into the Clone Wars shows. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just dry.
Do you think Star Wars needs to continue? I mean, is it just
Yeah.
well, I don't know. Like it was a 70s thing, 70s 80s thing, and then Lucas forced it back into our lives at the turn of the century. And then Disney just feels like they're really just doing it to make money, but I think when you finally get somebody like Jon Favreau to come along, he seems to have a real passion for it. But I don't know if there's been a lot of passion with Abrams behind it. Like maybe there was at the first movie, but then he just kind of helped out in the last. I don't know. To me, it just seems like I don't know. Are we just going to get kind of the same movies and TV shows all the time, or is it even worth pursuing?
I mean, Abrams blew it. That last movie just
yeah, I just
that
don't
last
know.
movie was like the last season of Game of Thrones.
I
It
think
was-
they really should have brought back, or they really should have let what's his name have his take on it, that Trevorrow, because I don't think he would have tried to wrap things up. I think he would have just tried to tell a story, a good story.
Yeah,
I don't
like, and I agree. I think looking back, he should have had a shot, because the nonsense that we got was,
To me, it felt like it was all about wrapping everything up and joining everything, and we only maybe needed a little of that.
so. While we're here,
Yeah.
How would you rank the 9 Star Wars movies? Listen up, internet.
Yeah. Like all 9?
All 9.
Well, I think.
No, 11.
Wait, what?
We got the original, we got the prequels, we
Yeah.
got the new trilogy,
So
and
that's
then
9.
we've got Solo, and
Oh my
we've
God.
got
You gotta include those. I
uh,
don't remember Solo or
Rogue One.
Rogue One enough. But I just don't. I can only really rate. I don't know. Those just like those don't need to exist. You know what I mean? That's
Which
why
one?
I'm saying they're like,
no
if-
movies need to exist,
If
bro.
if you like them, they're great for the Star Wars universe, but they don't have to be part of those 9 movies. Anyway, well, Empire Strikes Back is definitely the best Star Wars film, and then I would say Return of the Jedi after that, and then Star Wars after that, and then
Interesting.
I would say The Last Jedi, Force Awakens, Phantom Menace, Revenge of the Sith, and I just don't know which is worse, Attack of the Clones or Rise of Skywalker. But I guess I would say I think Attack of the Clones is the worst Star Wars film, so I would put the whatever Rise of Skywalker before Attack of the Clones. And I don't know anything about. I can't rate those other two films. I don't know where those fit in.
So I mean, you're not. That's a take.
I just so to wrap it up, it's the first trilogy is all you really need in Star Wars. That's it.
Okay.
And then I mix up the next two because I do think The Phantom Menace is one of the better films, aside from some silliness with Jar Jar. I do think it's one of the better films because I never get bored by the trade thing. I think people really think the trade negotiations really are hugely boring and ruin the movie, but I'm like, it's fine. It's just a plot device. I don't care.
It's awesome. I love politics.
Look, the pod race and the Darth Maul thing are two of the best things that ever happened to Star Wars, I think.
Oh yeah.
And they're way better than anything else in any of the movies that I don't remember anything about the other movies hardly, aside from the original trilogy. But I do think The Last Jedi was one of the best Star Wars films that we had seen in recent memory.
Oh yeah.
So anyways,
oh god, it was so
that's
good.
me.
Let's see. I would go Star Wars Empire. And then I would do Rogue One. And then Last Jedi. And then Return of the Jedi. And then Force Awakens. And then Revenge of the Sith. Attack of the Clones. Phantom Menace. And then I would say Rise of Skywalker and then Solo. I love Star Wars so much that I will go through and I love them all. I can't dislike anything from Star Wars because I love it and I just enjoy seeing it. But Solo, I haven't been able to finish. And I have started watching it like 4 times. And I've never finished it. It makes me mad. Ron Howard blew it, and they really should have let those two make the movie that they wanted. I think that was the biggest miss.
Although those guys made the Lego movies, right?
Yeah, Lord and Miller.
Yeah, and those to me were like fun, but it was painful to watch after a while. There was so much going on, and
they also made
comedy.
Spider-Man into the multiverse.
They did? They made that one?
Yep.
Oh, well, that was really good.
Real like
that was one of
I
the
don't
best
know
Spider-Man
what
films.
conflict was there, but it was obviously some sort of corporate conflict.
So you think Star Wars is the best Star Wars film?
Yeah, I do.
I can't get past the acting. It's just not. It's not good. You know what I mean? It's a pretty good independent film, really. I mean, like for what they had to work with and how they were trying new things, it's really good, and that's why I think it's a classic based on that. But I don't think it's. I don't know. I don't think it's no Godfather. It's no Taxi Driver. It's no. I don't know. It's Citizen Kane. It's just not up there with those movies. That's all I'm saying.
I was checking in on Lord and Miller, and I was wrong.
Yeah. I didn't think they did the Spider-Man one. Right?
They wrote and produced it.
Okay.
But they didn't direct it.
Okay, well, they still wrote it. It was pretty good. It was definitely a good Spider-Man film. I loved it.
And so it was amazing. But so they directed Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
That was fun.
21 Jump Street.
See, I liked those movies. Those were fun.
I haven't seen them.
I mean, they're fun for when you see them in a theater, and then I'll never watch it again or care. But they were like an entertaining,
Right. Yeah. Lego Movie, and then 22 Jump Street.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
And that's their last credited directing role for a movie. That was 2014.
Eesh, I better get on it.
It looks like they've been doing a lot of TV stuff.
It's a lifetime.
They worked extensively on The Last Man on Earth.
Yeah, right.
But I love Star Wars, and they can't make too much Star Wars, and I think they nailed Ahsoka, who is the next person in The Mandalorian. She's great.
And about The Mandalorian, I think the story with the child may be over. Like, I think that's it. I think they wrapped it up. Because if you watch a lot of those kind of TV shows, like Game of Thrones or Sopranos, or we watched Boardwalk Empire, or Breaking Bad, which I didn't see too much of, but I know they did this. Like, those shows really took chances, and that they would like kill off a main character in like the second season or even the first season, or somebody you thought was like the lead. Watchmen even did it, where they killed off the first guy, the guy in the first episode, Don Johnson in the first episode, and he was like, advertised like he was going to be the lead, right?
And
so
yeah, he was so likable,
right? So like everybody loves Baby Yoda, and that's the show that I think they actually ended the story, and now it's going to be about Boba Fett taking over Tatooine, and I think the Mandalorian's going to fit into that somehow. But I think that story is actually done, and they're not going to return to it.
Well, like the only person they didn't give a spin-off was to Bo-Katan.
Right.
And so I think she's going to be staying in the main Mandalorian story, and I
Yeah.
think they're going to try to take back the planet.
Exactly. But I really think the child is done, because I think that's what those. If a show wants to be great, they have to make those tough choices sometimes, and most of the time it pays off. Not always, but
My favorite example is The Office. Like, they had the romance of Jim and Pam, like, I mean, I think by season 3 they were together, and then after that the story was they were together and married and had babies. There was no more will they won't they romance. They were just, it happened, we're done with it.
yeah. Boardwalk
And
Empire always comes to my mind because it starred. Do you remember at all Boardwalk Empire? It was Steve,
I never watched it.
Okay, it was Steve Buscemi, and it was during Prohibition, so it was all about Prohibition goes into effect. He's a bootlegger. That's really what it was. And Michael Pitt, who's an actor, I don't know if you would know him if you saw him, but like he played that Cobain-esque character in Gus Van Sant's movie, the Last Days movie he did years ago, and he was in Head Big and the Angry Inch, which was one of my favorite films, and he was in that new Ghost in the Shell film with Scarlett Johansson. I don't know if you saw that. Anyway,
I saw that one.
yeah. So it was really Buscemi's show, but he was a huge part of it. He was a huge part of the show, and Buscemi kills him in the second season.
Really?
Just at the end of the season. And we're just like, what? Like, you can't get rid of him. Are you kidding me? And then the show goes on for 3 to 4 more seasons. Maybe it never equaled how good it was in those first 2, but it was still an excellent show. And you forgot about him because he wasn't part of the story anymore. Like, he didn't need to be there. And anyways, Game of Thrones famously did it. And basically every season they made, they'd have a lead character and then he'd be gone. And you'd be like, what are they going to do now? But the show survives. So anyways, that's my point, is that I do think that the Yoda character is done. The baby's story is over. But anyway.
It still blows my mind that how they could blow a final season that badly.
Oh, you think it was a bad season?
Oh my god. It was a terrible season of TV.
The Mandalorian?
No, Game of Thrones.
Oh, sorry. Well, this is our Star Wars section. If you want to move on.
Actually, it's actually time to move on to our next subject.
Okay,
I'm timing
good,
us.
Good.
And it's an important one, Aaron.
Yes.
Have you watched the new Wonder Woman yet?
Yes, I have. Wonder Woman 1984.
Did you watch it on Christmas Day, just as as DC and Warner Brothers and AT&T wanted you to?
No, we did not. We watched it the day after Christmas. Sorry.
Yeah, we're very sorry.
I got kids, so we watched Soul, the new Pixar film, on Christmas.
I have not watched that yet either.
Knowing that my older siblings would be here the day after, and they would probably more enjoy Wonder Woman.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. How is Soul? Everybody has been pretty universal.
Pixar may have reached that point where they don't really have anything left to say.
You're dead inside. Everybody says it's beautiful.
It is a beautiful film. It looks really nice, and it's got some feels to it. And I love the story. I love jazz, and I love how that's the main character. He plays jazz, and everything's really cool in his world in New York. But I wasn't impressed with the afterlife the way they wanted to design it. I just thought they were kind of ideas there. But they had I don't know what the hell the message was. They don't have a message. Is it true
that Martin Short was in the afterlife in that movie?
I don't,
because that's what I read.
I couldn't tell who was voicing what. Like I
Oh no,
normally
actual
can.
Martin Short, like in live action.
No,
He's supposed to be in the
no
cartoon.
idea.
Oh, oh, okay. I missed.
I
You
didn't see
must have missed
that.
him.
I must have
Yeah.
missed him. Anyway, just to wrap that up, it um they ruined the ending because they had him. They did something with him at the main character at the ending that they.
Spoilers for Wonder Woman 1984. Skip ahead 10 minutes if you don't want to
No,
hear
I'm
it.
talking about Soul.
Oh, oh, sorry.
This is Soul. I'm just wrapping up Soul now.
Oh, sorry, sorry, folks.
They.
Spoilers for Soul. I want you to ruin Soul for me.
No, I don't want to ruin Soul for you.
No, ruin it for me.
Soul was going in a direction, and it just had like a so-so meaning. Like they were really trying to. I think they were really trying to match the Inside Out kind of storytelling. Did you see
Is
Inside
that the
Out?
one where uh
The feelings in your head. It was all about that joy and happiness and sadness and all
what's
that.
his name being secretly gay and outed at the Oscars?
I don't. What? No, I have no idea what you're talking about. No, Inside Out. Isn't that what it's called? Inside Out. That was
No,
In
I'm
and
thinking
Out.
of In and Out. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh my
Sorry.
god. No, Inside Out with Amy Poehler and everybody else. Anyways, that I thought had a genuine message and a lot of emotion to it, and it pulled it off. I think they were really Soul was really trying to match that, and they did something at the end where like it felt almost like a test audience was just like, no, you can't do that. He has to be this way. And then you watch the movie, and it's like they put on this ending so they wouldn't piss people off or something. But I was like,
Oh.
ooh, they failed. Anyway, that's that big thing. So I thought Soul was fine, but I didn't think it was one of their better ones.
No, I need to hear about Wonder Woman 1984, and I want you to spoil the movie for everyone.
I'm not gonna spoil it. I don't want to do that. Why would I do that? It just came out.
Have
I mean,
you
I don't
seen
know
New
when people are
Mutants
gonna
yet?
listen to this, but no, I haven't seen New Mutants.
They all die. Spoilers.
Do they really?
No, they don't. Damn it.
Did you watch? You didn't watch Wonder Woman?
I haven't yet,
No.
and there's a reason for that. I am never excited to see a DC movie,
Yeah.
and
I
I
know.
don't know why.
No, I know
don't
why. They're not good. They're
But
not good.
some are good.
Which ones are good?
Well, let me rank them for you.
Well, now this is everything post Nolan, right? Or at least,
Yeah.
at least the beginning of Snyder is where we're talking, right?
So all the movies that count between Man of Steel and Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah. So not Watchmen. That's not in the.
No.
Yeah.
But like Man of Steel, I don't know if you remember, but I liked that movie.
It wasn't as off-putting as I think about it now. Like I remember watching it and being like, all right, that was good. It was a new take on it. I liked it.
It was pretty solid.
Yeah.
The next movie that came out was Batman versus Superman.
Awful, just horrible in every way, but some good things. I did think Affleck was a fine Batman. You know, he pulled it
I
off.
thought he was a pretty good Batman. Yeah.
And they had some cool things to it. The suit was cool. Other things were cool, but most of it was not cool.
The only piece that I liked were the narrative strings that they carried over from Man of Steel, like making the movies feel cohesive. Like if they had pulled off an actual good story, it would have been a great sequel of sorts.
Yeah, I even like Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. I thought that was perfectly fine. Like it was a different take on it. I thought he was great. I didn't mind.
It was very good. So wait, no, I'm not ranking them. I'm just going in order.
Okay.
So let me rank them. My number one favorite DC movie is Shazam.
Mm.
Number two
Because
is Man of Steel.
that's the Marvel magic. That's all they did is they just took Marvel and they really made their Marvel movie with Shazam.
See, I feel the opposite. I feel like they took chances and made a movie that also had superheroes in it. Like that was a movie about an orphaned kid finding his place in the world. It was so like it was big.
Yeah.
It was heartwarming and it was big and it was awesome and it was something different than all this other crap we get.
Yeah. I still feel like it was superhero first, but that was a nice way to have the world, you know. That was the nice world inside that superhero movie.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of movies in the Marvel universe that are challenging and like I thought about Doctor Strange for maybe a minute, but anything interesting in that movie is just there to push Doctor Strange along in this
Yeah.
very tried and true good guy versus bad guy story.
Oh, I'm not saying that the Marvel movies are interesting. I'm just saying that they're really well done superhero movies, as far as entertainment goes.
And they are.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because DC tries different crazy things. Like,
It really is just them being very serious and dark, really. And maybe when they're not always dark, they're still just serious, and it just goes over your head. I don't know.
they're a little Zack Snyder. So wait, so we've got
So you said Shazam. Yeah.
We've got Man of Steel. I have not watched Aquaman. Can't get excited for it because of Justice League, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. Bothers me. Birds of Prey was good, so that would be high up there.
I didn't see that.
The next best, all the others are just in the same level. Justice League, Suicide Squad, Batman versus Superman. All three of those are in the basement. Wonder Woman is a strong fourth. And that's pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's only 9.
Well, you know why the Nolan's films are so good? Because it's kind of like horror movies. Like, I wasn't always a horror movie fan, but I got into them like once I started making more movies, you know, like, and just kind of opened myself up to telling different stories. Then I saw the fun in bad B movies, you know, horror movies, stuff like that, you know. So now they're fun to me, so I like them. But like, there's really no good horror movie except the ones that are done by legitimate filmmakers. William Friedkin made The Exorcist, probably the best horror movie. But he's not really a horror movie director. He just happened to make a horror movie, you know? Roman Polanski makes Rosemary's Baby, also a really good horror movie. But he's not a horror movie director. He's just a really good director, and he happened to make a horror movie. I think Nolan is not a superhero movie director. He makes really good films. He makes adult films, and he just happened to make superhero movie with Batman, and that's why everybody likes them. That's why they're good. Zack Snyder is a superhero director, and he doesn't know how to make a good film. He just knows how to make superhero movies. And
Yeah,
pretty
he's
much everybody
garbage.
else that works for DCU is kind of the same way. Patty Jenkins, I don't know. I feel like Wonder Woman had to fit the world that Snyder had made, so that's why it failed for me. It was self-serious. The third part of it was just awful. It was just a CGI eyesore. You know, I just didn't really care for it. But the new Wonder Woman, 84, they had a lot more fun with it, a lot more color to it. It had a silly premise that they worked hard at bringing you into, and then you're just like, I know this is silly, but they're doing a good job of making it. You know, they're making me care about this silly premise. And I actually thought it worked really, really well. And I think she finally made a movie the way she would have made a superhero movie and not having to be indebted to Snyder's vision.
And she said that the studio basically dictated how the first Wonder Woman was going to end, and that she personally wouldn't have ended it with the way that they did.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, people loved Wonder Woman. I shrugged.
I did too. And well, I was bothered by that just because it was during the Me Too push, I felt like. So people were like people were giving it way more praise than it deserved, because they were just like, we got to support this female-led superhero movie. We got to get out there and do it. And people just went nuts about it. And I'm just like, slow down. It's not horrible, and that's what's good about it. But it's not that great. I mean, let's be honest, okay? Jesus.
Just to be clear there, everyone, he supports Me Too. Do not cancel Aaron. But I also agree that if that movie had come out in a different time and place, it might have been received differently. Yeah. And that could be true of every movie. I know.
Well, I think
but
it's
I'm not
similar.
talking about every movie. I'm talking about Wonder Woman. So shut up.
I think it's similar to Black Panther in that I see that it was very significant to people, especially African Americans, and it's well deserved in that. But it is not a 5-star film, because it has a CGI eyesore ending when they battle each other. It's just awful at the ending.
See, that's so funny that you said Black Panther because it took me 3 tries to get through Black Panther.
Really? See, I love
Yeah,
really. It is one of the best Marvel films for 2/3 of it, and then it just ends like it's not good.
everything else. Like,
Yeah,
but once I actually got through it, I love it.
yeah,
Um, and the first 2/3 are some of my favorite Marvel movies. Yeah.
right. I just felt like the reviews I was reading is that they were like, you're witnessing The Godfather. You're witnessing Taxi Driver. You are witnessing Citizen Kane. This is the new Chinatown. And I'm just like, no, it's not. It's really good. And it's well deserved as far as really pushing a different culture out there in a film that's been, how it's been really underrepresented, for all these years. So it wins at that. I'm like, but it's not a perfect film. Let's just slow down.
I'm gonna jump in here real quick because, God, we just called Black Panther not a perfect film. If someday we will be canceled for this episode, it's gonna be not great.
No, because
I hope
time
I
has
don't get
passed,
doxxed.
and the same with Wonder Woman, that people do reevaluate and say, yeah, all right, they're right. It's not that,
But
not perfect.
we've covered The Mandalorian and we've covered,
Well, we were on Star Wars, and now we're on DC.
yeah, we're on DC
So
and
what's
we
next?
moved into Marvel somehow. But let's talk about right wingers in pop culture.
Okay. So you're asking whether can I separate the art from the artist if the artist is a horrible
Yes.
person?
Well, the thing is we do that all the time, but where's the line? Like, because we know that Johnny Depp sucks. Will we see a Johnny Depp movie again if it's something that we care about? Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I would.
Yeah.
But
And so,
I don't think there is a line because I am. It's free speech, man. People can say and vote for whatever the fuck they want. Like, I don't care. But if you do good art and it doesn't come out of that, like if you're not putting the art out there because it's based on your views, if I like it, I like it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll watch it. Nobody's perfect. So I don't know, man. I think like Timothy Leary, I can't remember, it was in a Tool song where he's like, if you don't like drugs, do me a favor. Take all your records, all the Beatles, all the Stones, everything you love from your childhood and burn it. Because those people were really fucking high on drugs. So I'm with you on the line that I just don't know what the line is because you can't like anything or anybody if you hold one thing against them. I don't know, as far as art goes.
or if you get to know any famous person too well, chances are they're going to be sucky.
Right.
But Letitia Wright, if I said your name right, I hope I did. She's Siri.
Yeah,
Shuri?
yeah, sure. Yeah, she had another thing too, didn't she?
Yeah, because I think she is in line to be the new Black Panther.
That's my guess, yeah.
In the comics, she becomes Black Panther. But yeah, she was just posting some anti-vaxxer shit, and she deleted her account after people got a hold of it. And
I know.
It was
Just don't say it. It's gonna be a problem. If you're a comedian, go ahead. But you're clearly not a comedian. You get what comes at you. And like if she's posting some anti-vaxxer stuff like without any knowledge of like where it's coming from or if it's even true, or then she deserves whatever people want to throw at her. I just think like, why did she even bother? Like, why bother?
I totally agree.
Obviously, this is I can get on a soapbox about this. I can just go off about it because I just feel like we're inundated every day with news stories about some new celebrity who said something stupid.
I just learned one. Do you remember Buffalo 66?
Yeah, Vincent
What was
Gallo.
that guy's name?
Vincent Gallo.
Vincent Gallo.
Yeah.
It apparently turned into a nut job. He sells T-shirts on his Instagram, I think, that are all heavily anti-Black Lives Matter.
Wow, Jesus.
Like, I saw one T-shirt that I shouldn't even repeat it, but it was along the lines of, make sure your deadbeat single dad something doesn't resist the police next time, or something along
something
those
horrible.
lines.
Yeah. I got some questions for you though, if you want to move on to that.
Real quick though,
Yeah.
just because it finishes a thought. Can you? Who is your favorite actor that you shouldn't love and they're kind of a piece of shit?
Favorite actor who's a piece of shit. Well, like
That sucks in real life, and you know it, and you've come to terms with it.
I don't. He's. Well, I would say he's not my favorite, but I love James Woods. Right? He's fucking.
He's such a big piece of shit
he's
too.
A total piece of shit. But he's great as an actor. He's great in everything he's done. Like, are you kidding me? I'd watch James Woods on any time.
That's pretty fair.
Who wouldn't watch James Woods' work? His work is why people care about him. Not what he says on the other side. He's a piece of shit.
But what he says on the other side is why he doesn't get to work anymore.
Which is kind of unfair. But again, you have the right to say whatever you want, but you got to deal with the consequences.
Yeah, you got to deal with the consequences.
So I have no pity for him either if he doesn't get any work because nobody wants to work with a piece of shit. That's just how it is.
Yeah, that's kind of fair.
Who's yours?
Life is a piece of shit.
Who's yours?
Chevy Chase.
Yeah, exactly.
I love him.
Yeah, he's great.
And he's the worst piece of shit.
But he's clearly a piece of shit. That's pretty funny.
Like, I mean, I love him. Like, and I would be embarrassed if Chevy Chase heard this, but I wouldn't be embarrassed if James Woods heard me calling him a piece of shit. Yeah.
But Chevy's well aware that he's a piece of shit. I think that might be the difference. I think Woods is just like, what are you talking about? I'm just saying what I want to say. Where Chevy's just like, I know I'm a piece of shit, but he says it anyways. Well, I just had some questions, and see, you asked me that one. That was a good start, and I tried to answer as quick as I could. So Woods is the first one that came to my mind because I don't want to waste too much time trying to think of the perfect answer. But what movie did you used to love but now hate?
Ooh. There's a lot of movies that I loved when I was super pretentious, and one that I would never want to watch again. I never liked the war movie from the guy that made The Godfather.
Apocalypse Now. Yeah.
Yes.
So you always hated that.
Like, well, no.
But
back
now you
when
love
it
it?
was cool to like it.
Oh, so you liked it, but now you hate it. Yeah.
And now, like, as an adult who appreciates his own opinions, I don't care for that movie, and I don't care for almost any war movie.
Interesting. Okay, that's good. That's good. Is there a reverse to that you have? Like, what did you hate, but you now actually love?
Lost World
That's a pretty good answer.
is a great movie,
Yeah.
and I'll fight anybody that says otherwise.
Good. See, I knew this would be a good question.
It's an original. I want to hear the same from you.
I know. I don't want to waste time because I don't know exactly what it is. Well, I used to. I don't know. Love and hate. Those are strong words. But I used to give no, because I was pretentious. I used to give no credit to any like B movie, horror movie, any of that. I just thought it was garbage. Like I didn't care. I don't know why people liked it. But I definitely have come around to understanding why people enjoy horror movies and cheap little films and stuff like that. Like, and I even like them now. Like a movie to me when I was pretentious, like late '90s, a movie had to be perfect or it wasn't worth my time. And now I'm way open to be like, nothing's perfect. The movie's not perfect, but damn, is it fun and it's great. That kind of thing.
Yeah, like I love movies, and movies are such a pure and joyous form of entertainment for me. It's really hard to have a bad movie anymore.
Yeah. Because I remember we were talking about, and it might have even been because of the podcast, but we were talking about a movie or whatever, and I was like giving it a lot of credit, and you're just like, you have totally turned around because you used to be the guy that was like shitting on everything. And I was like, I probably was. We'd go to like a West Side Party Store and look at all their movies, and I was probably just shitting on everything. Like, I don't want to watch that. That's a bunch of shit, blah, blah.
Okay, I honestly miss movie stores once in a while. I never thought I would. Me and Trisha used to go to this classy video store in East Lansing that had all the independent movies you couldn't find at a mainstream video store.
Yeah, it was the one in Frandor, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You remember that? Oh, because you lived in Lansing.
Yeah, I mean, I worked right across the street at LNS, so
You did.
I would go there like on my break and stuff. But yeah, that's how I saw all those Woody Allen movies that I had never seen before. Like nobody had those movies, so I was able to see all of his early funny ones and all the
Did you
ones.
just call it LNS? Do you guys drop the first call letter?
Sorry, we do WLNS. Yeah, it's a lot to say. Like I worked at WZZM, so you just say ZZM. You know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is every call letter across the country start with a W?
Uh, on the east side of the country, they start with W, and everything on the I don't know where the line is, but everything's K. If you ever watch anything in California, it's always K whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Moving on. What's your next question?
I only had one that I thought was unique, but what's your, and again, this could be vice versa. What's the worst, best movie you've ever seen? You know, like just a
so
bad
many.
movie, but it is so good.
Oh wait, the best worst movie you've ever
Yeah.
seen? Like the good
Oh, I'm sorry.
bad movie.
I guess I was asking what's the worst, best movie you've ever seen? Like what's something everybody, but you kind of already answered it with Apocalypse Now. It's a great film that you just think is the worst.
I mean, this goes back
So
to
maybe the opposite.
A lot of those movies, I love movies so much, are movies that I just don't understand and I need my handheld through.
Yeah.
Like a lot of classics, like we've talked about Kubrick and David Lynch before. Like the first time I saw 2001, I had absolutely no idea and I needed to read about it and I still didn't understand it. The Shining was over my head. But it's very not cool to say that these things are over your head or you're not a cool movie guy. But I tell you what, it's overrated. Just that's all.
I think I'll answer this one. I think that most of Wes Anderson's films are overrated.
You son of a bitch.
I think Rushmore is a great film. I think that he hasn't done anything adult at all until the Grand Budapest Hotel. I thought that was like his first adult film.
Oh my god, I was gonna say if you didn't like everything's been building to that and
because I just think Royal Tenenbaums is I think that's way overrated. I don't think it's a bad movie. I just
those
think
are
it's
fighting words.
I just think it's very overrated.
Like
You know what I mean?
he's in my list of 5 favorite directors, sir.
Yeah. And
He's in
then
my 5.
to piss off everyone else, I love Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown. I wish this is actually a third question, or a fourth question I did have. What movie, or maybe it's a third, I don't know, whatever. What movie do you wish a director never made? And my answer is Kill Bill. Not because it's a bad movie, but once he made Kill Bill, Tarantino went off on this trajectory where he just lives in this fake world. Like he just has no business making a World War II movie. He has no business making a Western. Like all of these films are just cartoonish and forgettable in my mind, where he made 3 good films in the 90s, and I wish he would have continued in that trajectory with those kind of films. Urban, modern films is what he should have done with a taste of the 70s. You know what I mean? That's how Tarantino should have went on.
What did you think of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood then?
I haven't seen that yet.
Okay, so
but it sounds similar to the rest of them in that he apparently rewrote history at the end, right? Is what I've been told, but I don't know what that is exactly.
Yes, he did.
Which is what he did with Inglourious Bastards. So I'm just like, and everybody fell head over heels for that, and I'm just like, whatever.
No, like this is like once you have to see it, like it's a masterpiece.
Okay, yeah,
and
that's great. I would never turn it down. You know, like I would never say like that's gonna be shitty. I don't want to see it. I just haven't got around to it yet. But yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, that's definitely one you should put on your list because it's excellent. Like and I hate Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
And so that's one of those performances where
there you go. Yeah. Did you ever see The Aviator? Because I remember you said you hated DiCaprio.
Nope, and it's only because I hate DiCaprio.
Yeah. See, that's the thing about DiCaprio. That was the movie that really made me appreciate him because he looks nothing like Howard Hughes. He acts nothing like Howard Hughes, and he's way too young to play Howard Hughes. And yet he gives the best Howard Hughes performance anyone ever did. I don't know how he does it. He's amazing at it, and he looks and is way too young to be this character, but he
He
pulls
is
it
an
off.
incredible actor. Like,
Yeah.
let's be clear. Like, I do not dislike him because of his work. I dislike his face. I hate looking at the son of a bitch.
That's awesome. So yeah, what's a movie you wish a director never made? Like it basically ruins their filmography, or it sets it off, as in my case, on a trajectory I wish they never went.
I really like that example. Whew. I gotta whittle this down fast. I got nothing on this one, man.
I know these are hard to throw at you and
That one
expect
is
an
hard.
amazing answer, but I had time to think about it. Obviously, think
Yeah,
about it though.
Yeah. So I have a quick question
Yeah.
for you. What are you watching right now? What movies are you into at the moment?
What am I watching? I watch a lot of documentaries, like just about the making of movies and music, and like I got Amazon Prime, recently. So I watch a lot of those, and they're really not that great at documentaries, but they're kind of like background noise to me. But I do pick up on things, but like about early video arcade and video games, and I watched one about the last video store, and it was just about people's love of physical media and how it's gone now. And so I watch a lot of those documentaries. And I like Nicolas Cage movies, so I've been watching some of those lately. 8 millimeter. Did you ever see that? The Joel Schumacher one?
I saw it when it came out,
Yeah.
but I
So
haven't seen it since.
I was watching that, and I watched Johansson's Ghost in the Shell like a couple days ago.
Oh my god, and that's so funny. Wait,
Yeah.
Johansson, did you watch Saturday Night Live?
I saw that part where he made fun of his new wife, which is pretty funny.
I mean, he made it so racist for one, and then yeah,
I felt
making
so
fun
bad
of his
for him.
wife. That was awesome.
I was like, dude, don't make him say that. Come on, you could clean it up a little.
The other guy's the head writer on the show, Michael Che.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I think
that's-
Colin Jost was, isn't he the head writer?
I think it's Che.
Maybe they both are, or maybe he gave it up and maybe Che is now the new one. Whatever.
I don't know, but does the head writer usually do the weekend update bit? Because isn't that what
I don't think Dennis Miller was ever the headline. Or whatever the head writer. I don't think Kevin Nealon ever was.
Yeah,
I'm sure. What's his name wasn't. You know who I'm talking about. What the hell's his name? Dirty work and.
Norm Macdonald.
No way Norm Macdonald was the head writer of SNL.
Yeah, I don't see it.
I think Tina Fey was, but she was also a performer, so it kind of worked out for her.
So right now, I'm very heavily invested in the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay.
I haven't watched those in years, and
Yeah.
I own all of the movies, and I own all the Hobbits, and I've never seen any of the Hobbits. Have you seen those?
I haven't watched it.
Yeah, like I'm gonna check it out, but I was looking at the runtime. 558 minutes for the theatrical cut of all three of these movies.
It's a lot. It's a lot
That's
to take
so
in,
insane.
and it's a lot to care about.
Has anybody adapted a piece of work as well as they did The Lord of the Rings? And that was a prepared question I had.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. Probably not, just because. I mean, maybe people would say the Harry Potter movies, but I don't know. I've never read the books.
I went to the Harry Potter too because those are also very good.
Yeah.
But there,
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
I think Harry Potter is more hit and miss.
Yeah.
While there's just an incredible level of consistency across all of these movies.
I think Lord of the Rings worked because, all the books were written, so they had everything. And it was just like the right place. It was like one of those magical moments, the right place at the right time. The technology was just as much as you needed it to be as far as the big battle scenes go. But they didn't rely too much on it to mess up the beautiful cinematography and the makeup and everything else that they did with everybody else. And it was just casted perfectly. Everybody was really casted. Even Liv Tyler, which people like to shit on. She was great. She was good.
She was
at
great.
It. Yeah. But like having Hugo Weaving as the other guy, like who's the Aragon? Who plays him?
Oh God, I know it's right here. It's Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah, I mean, like he's the perfect age and the perfect moment where Viggo Mortensen could star in these movies. And then Elijah Wood, same thing. Like he's the
Yeah.
perfect Frodo, and he just was there at that moment, at that time. You know what I mean?
Same with Ian McKellen. Like this is
Oh yeah,
potentially.
totally. How
I say
could you
this is his
possibly
best
get
work.
another Gandalf?
No.
Yeah,
Oh.
I think it was
Christopher,
just one of those lucky things that happened. You know?
watching Lord of the Rings is what I imagine it would be like to live through the Bible. Like, or if somebody adapted the Bible,
Right.
it would have to be Lord of the Rings level. Like, that's what it feels like. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm being read an ancient story to as I'm watching it.
And so I never watched The Hobbit, but it just seems like everything we say that's great about The Lord of the Rings is why people dumped on The Hobbit. Because it felt like a money grab. It felt like he's overreaching with the technology. And it's
that's
just, he doesn't have a good story to tell. You know?
I didn't hear any story complaints. I just heard technology complaints,
Yeah.
and we'll see if I ever get around to actually watching them. But Martin Freeman's amazing
Yeah.
because he's in there.
Yeah, and he's good. He seems like he's the right Bilbo, right? Did you
Yeah.
ever read the books?
No,
Oh, okay.
I owned them. But
Yeah. Victoria owns them, and we started reading the first one together, but we got maybe 200 pages, and that was about it. It just went on.
I
Not that it's
I
bad.
got a set.
It's just hard to stay with it.
I got a set at. Let's see. I got a set at a garage sale,
Nice.
and look at that old guy.
Is that Token?
Yeah, I've never seen him before.
Yeah. And why
This
do you
is
got to
a
do
picture
the
on-
double R? Can't you just say JR Token? Why do you got to be pretentious like that and add the two R's in? Just so people can have trouble saying your name. JRRR. JRRR. You know what I mean? I hate when people
Yeah,
have to
it's-
say the name.
That's a point. Did we cover anything else that wasn't controversial? Marvel movies are just okay.
What do you think about like the Johansson thing? This is controversial, where actors are asked to do their job of acting and pretending to be someone they're not, and that's controversial nowadays.
This is something that could get us canceled. I think it's important for minorities to vocally fight for equal foothold in all jobs and everything.
Yes.
Be vocal, absolutely. Should people be upset that Scarlett Johansson plays those characters? Absolutely. Do I care? I don't.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think the message isn't for me or you is the point. What we think about anything, this podcast, other than this podcast, nobody has to care what we think about anything. And we don't have to do anything to make that group's voice any less significant, but we
Yeah.
also don't have to listen to it or care because it doesn't impact us. I don't know. I think there was something in there.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It's hard. Like I always say, because a lot of things in the world nowadays are silly to me, just silly. So I always say like, and this goes back to like Homer Simpson said something like this, like just because I think it's silly or just because I don't care doesn't mean I'm not supportive. And that's
Yeah.
kind of how I am. I'm just like, all this, it's just really silly, and I don't know why you care. Doesn't mean I'm not. I support you though. I mean, I think you have to fight for representation, and I do think that's very important. Where they feel like, look, our race is not being hired as much as you. Like, why not? We need to get out there, and because all you white people are taking our jobs, we should be up there. And I do think that's a valid point. You know, you have to fight for your representation. So I do think that's cool. However, I do think that like Scarlett Johansson is a bankable movie star, and the Hollywood studios want her to lead the film because they know she'll bring money in. And when you watch, because I watched the first Ghost in the Shell, when you watch manga films, this is gonna get me canceled. They don't look Japanese, but they also don't necessarily look American. They look like their own anime is like its own race almost, right? I
Or
mean,
it's
sometimes
just an
they
art
look,
style, yeah.
yeah, they look particularly Japanese, and sometimes they look particularly American, and sometimes they look particularly whatever race they're trying to draw. But oftentimes the leads don't look like any race. So does it bother me that she stars in Ghost in the Shell? No.
Yeah. I think long story short, social media has given everyone a pulpit to have
Yeah.
an opinion about everything.
Yeah.
And what we've discovered is that people truly have an opinion about everything.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's fair. But yeah, social media doesn't mean anything. And I'm not on almost all of it.
Well, the newest was like with Anne Hathaway. Like she played. Did you hear about that?
No.
She was in this. It's called The Witches. I think it's a remake of a Roald Dahl film, or maybe it's the first making of a Roald Dahl.
Which is on Netflix, directed by
There you go.
Robert Zemeckis.
Zemeckis did it. Okay.
Yep, it's his last movie.
I see. I didn't know that. So she plays this evil character. She's like the evil witch or whatever, and her hands are like this or something. Like they're like like the penguin's hands and Danny DeVito had in Batman Returns. You know, like they're just connected.
Are you telling me that fish hand actors got mad?
No,
that Anne Hathaway played a fish woman?
I'm telling you that there was social media outrage to the point where Anne Hathaway had to apologize for having those kind of hands, because there was like a father somewhere whose daughter has a very rare genetic disease where her fingers are fused. And because there was a villain that looked like that, he thought that would portray his daughter and her condition as villainous. And so Anne Hathaway had to come out and apologize and say, like, this was a real miss on our part with the art department. So I was like, well, I guess Danny DeVito has to come out and apologize for his role in Batman Returns. My point is, you can't make everyone fucking comfortable. And one person may get pissed off, but that one person goes online, and then you have 1,000 followers amplify their anger. So they're angry on behalf of this person. And then it becomes this huge ordeal where people have to like apologize for it. But I'm just like, does it really matter? Does it really matter that that's how her hands looked in the movie?
We live in a society. Society is all about living with people even if you don't like them that much. And everybody just needs to leave each other alone.
Yeah, right. Or we need to all get together and I don't know, whatever.
I mean, yeah, it's
so that was one of the newer ones I thought was just like, again, just because I think it's silly and I don't care, doesn't mean I'm not supportive. I mean, if you want to fight for whatever, go for it. But I'm probably just going to go watch the movies.
Okay, good.
Well,
yeah.
how do we wrap this up on a positive note? Because I feel like we've just been talking a lot of shit and a lot of controversial stuff. And
we wrap it up by
let's get
saying,
back to movies.
Thank you very much for joining us on this expedition.
Well, I mean, we got to have some sort of subject to briefly
you want
discuss.
a subject?
Yeah, we got to talk about something else briefly. Then
we're about 10
back.
minutes over.
That's
so
all right.
No, we rank Star Wars. I'm gonna put Justin and Aaron get canceled in this episode by ranking Star Wars, ranking the DC movies, calling Zack Snyder as what should we call Zack Snyder? Zack Snyder.
I call Zack Snyder. What was the word? I was just thinking of it. It's not misled, but he doesn't know what he's doing. Like, he's not bad and he can be good. I think it's in him, but he's like trapped in his own mind where he thinks this is how movies should be made, but he has the talent to make them in a better way. He just needs to find that within himself.
Is that Zack Snyder is like a 15-year-old having sex.
That is perfect.
Because he definitely can have sex, and it's passable sex.
Yeah.
But is it good sex?
Right.
Absolutely not. Zack Snyder, ladies and gentlemen.
He has the ability to do it, and he can get it done. But he just isn't experienced enough, I guess. Or nobody has told him, nobody has mentored him in the right way to say, this is not how you're doing it wrong. This is how you should do it. Oh, God. But you know what? We're all like that, where there's a lot of trial and error until we get it right.
Except for Zack Snyder, apparently, right, ladies?
Someday, you're never too old to figure out how to do that right.
It's true.
Yeah.
You can teach an old Zack Snyder new tricks.
What movie would you be more likely to go back to the theaters to watch when it's it'll never. I think it's never okay to go back to the theaters again. Like it's all going to be a very socially distanced activity. So what's worth doing? Is there any movie that would get you back there?
Matrix 4. Well, and considering that I'm currently immune, if it came into the theaters, I would go just because I can get away with it. But the Warner Brothers slate for next year, like Dune, is a movie I'm really looking forward to. I'm a huge fan of what's his face,
Villanova, whatever.
Yeah. Denny Villeneuve
Yeah.
or whatever. I love him. I love his work, and I will watch all of his movies.
Yeah, I would like to cover Blade Runner 2049 as one of our sequels, so we'll get to that.
Yeah, that's such a good movie.
Yeah, I don't know. Dune is another like palate cleanser almost for the studios. Like we've never really made that Dune movie the way we wanted to. Lynch really didn't do it justice. So let's try it again with this guy. I just feel like you should just do something. You should do something else.
Can you think of a failed project from a big director that you wish they would have made?
So a hypothetical big project that you want a director to fail on? Is that what you're asking?
No, like a good example is the Tim Burton Superman movie.
Yes, right. Oh, I would have loved to see a Terry Gilliam Watchmen film.
Oh God.
You know? Or a miniseries, whatever he wanted to do with it. I think he thought it should be done as a miniseries because he just thought there was too much to tell. And I think his constant calling of Alan Moore is what drove Alan Moore not to want anything to do with it. I think Gilliam really annoyed him because I think they did actually talk about it. And he was just like, I don't care anymore. Stop calling me. Leave me alone. And then Gilliam was like, it's unfilmable. We can't do it. So, but I would have liked to see that. I thought that would be. See, The Matrix 4 worries me because I think that it may be a Hobbit situation where there's going to be too much reliance on CGI and what they're doing now, and that it'll make it an eyesore and forgettable. Because I think The Matrix, well, because that's how the sequels to The Matrix were. To me, the sequels weren't that great. The sequels were really not good. But the first movie was the right place at the right time with the right amount of technology to make it work. And they'll never be able to do that again. But they could always surprise me.
Not The Matrix. Oh, well, like, I just don't know how they're going to do it. Like, I don't understand what they're doing with that movie, and they have to answer that. If they can't answer that, if they can answer why Keanu Reeves is there in a believable way in the first 10 minutes, I don't know.
Well,
they can pull that off.
One of the big failures I thought with the movie is that they had no ending. Like the best they came up with was there's a truce between the robots and the humans, and I was just like, what? That's not good. Like that's not an ending. You got to defeat them.
It's so believable because a computer is so cold and objective that if it says it's going to do something, that means it absolutely will.
Yeah,
it's the people once they become powerful again that the computers should be worried about. Whatever.
Yeah, that's true. I'll go with that.
That's a movie. That's a great example of a movie that was a disappointment when it came out, but has grown into a great movie as I've gotten older.
You didn't like The Matrix, the original one?
I mean, I'm sure I was like, oh, those were great, but in my head I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
No, the original was amazing. The sequels.
Yeah. No, the sequels I didn't like immediately. I was just like, what is this? I don't know.
And yeah, they're great movies in my opinion.
So maybe that would be my reevaluation. I'll watch them now and be like, these are really good, but I don't think so.
But I've listened to a lot of podcasts and read about the movies, and so like rewatching them with all those details that you didn't know, which isn't fair because normal audience members don't do that, does add so much detail that your admiration for the movies goes up and up.
I would like to do, on another note, I want to talk about David Lynch really badly, but he never made a sequel. So how are we going to do that? What if, this is a big one, we do Twin Peaks The Return? That was the third season he made to the show that was only on Showtime like 2 years ago. So it's like 18 episodes. Yeah. It's an 18-hour show.
Why don't we do it all?
Well, that's what I mean. Like we would do The Return would be the sequel of the original show. So you got to watch the original show, all like 24 episodes. Well, I think it was only like 18 episodes. It was like an 8-season first season, which is excellent, classic TV. And then you got about 6 or 7 episodes in the second season, which is really good. And then everything else is not good until the very end when Lynch came back to wrap it up. And then from that wrap up to the second season is where he brought this new show back, which is really awesome. It's hard to get into for the first couple episodes, but once you do, it's a great show. So I want to talk about that. We could somehow cover almost 30 episodes or more than 30 episodes of TV as a sequel show.
That would be fun, and I'm absolutely down with doing that. We'll obviously need to schedule that out for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's all I got. So,
thanks for listening.
Well, all right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in for this, and we'll be back, and we'll be covering blank. I'll fill that in later.
Insert here. What are we on next?
Split, like the Glass film, and
that's the next on the list technically. Like I said before, the whole homework thing, which is something I like, to be clear.
Oh, okay. I hate homework.
I like going through a movie that I've seen 100 times and thinking about it much more strictly or much more in depth than just sitting back and enjoying a movie.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, I just like watching it. Like, I like the challenge of, now, how do you explain this movie to somebody else? Like, that's kind of the way I think about it. Like, that's weird, because normally you just watch it for entertainment and then you forget it when you're done. But now I have to like try to retain and retell the story in a way to each other. And that's a little different.
Shyamalan is that ultimate director of just enjoy, don't think about it too much. Once again, Peter Jackson is only 59 years old. This has been Aaron and Justin Talk Sequels. I'm Justin.
I'm Aaron.
Have a good day.